Hi. I'm sure I'm sure a few of you know me. I mean, after the announcement about my mission, now all of you know me. But my name is Ethan. My dad over there. Great talk, by the way, and great job to the choir. So the Sermon on the Mount. It's one of Jesus's most discussed teachings, not just among us, but among other religions too. Is really cool. You could probably ask a friend of yours who's not in our church. They'd probably say something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, isn't that like Jesus teaching people on a mountain or something?" Regardless of how you put it, it's important. Some now all of you already know that in a little over a week I'm leaving. Yep, gone. Bye bye. I'm gonna be on my mission finally. But it's not just any mission, it's a service mission. Now, some of you might be confused. Wait, don't service missionaries stay at home with their families? Yes, but in rare cases like mine, I get I get to be moved to stay at home with family somewhere else in Utah with my grandparents. Anyway, having this talk right before my mission got me thinking about how I want to act on my mission, what rules and standards I want to hold myself to. Well, conveniently, the Sermon on the Mount helps me evaluate that pretty easily. I am going to be covering only Matthew 5, not 6 or 7, so bear with me. First things first, in Matthew 5, verse 5, it reads, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." When I'm on my mission, I'm not there to get famous or recognized. I'm there to serve, hence the name, the service mission. As it outlines, I need to emulate the humility that Jesus teaches. I need to approach all interactions with humility and a desire to serve rather than seeking recognition. I feel like my dad actually demonstrates that really well. I mean, look at him. He's got a full family, 4 kids, wife, and the house can get pretty messy with that many people in one place. He's always working to make sure that not only does he keep the house clean, but he also makes sure it's safe and comfortable with plenty of food to go around. He goes to work and comes home every day of the week, except weekends, and makes sure everything is perfect for his family without a single thought about how this could benefit himself, and only thoughts about how it could benefit his family. Would love to be just as good of a father as he has been to me and my family, but that can wait until after my mission. Secondly, in Matthew 5, verse 8, Jesus teaches, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." As a service missionary, I may not be called out to teach the gospel very often, if at all, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't strive for sincerity and integrity in my words and actions. I need to be genuine in my service and in sharing the gospel, even if I might not share the gospel as much as other missionaries. This actually lines up really well with what my parents have taught me. It's things like this that let me know that they're truly faithful servants of the Lord, and it's where I get my faith from. My parents have always told me that I need to do 2 things to succeed in life. I need to be honest and work hard. This not only lines up with what Jesus teaches, but it also lines up with how they work. I've never known my parents to be dishonest or lazy, not in the slightest. While either of my parents are at work, the other is usually at home doing what they can to make sure their house is a clean and safe place to live with honesty that, even if a little brutal sometimes, is unwavering. Next, in Matthew 5, verse 9, we read, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." Nobody wants to be mad. And if you do, there's something wrong with you, go talk to the missionaries or something. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But seriously, nobody likes to be mad. And personally, if there's something I can do to resolve a dispute, I'd want to do it. And I want to be the person helping to resolve misunderstandings and fostering unity in interactions, whether it's in mine or yours. Now, this is the part where I'd usually say my parents embody this, and while they do for the most part, they also don't. And I mean, nobody does. They, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not great at it either, but I want to improve. I'm not gonna elaborate too much because I kind of don't want to have an uncomfortable talk with my parents after this. But the gist of it is that everyone gets mad and everyone argues. Nobody's perfect, but we try our best to resolve our problems with each other. If we didn't, there would be war and chaos, which leads me to say that even with all the fights I've gotten into with my parents, I'm still grateful they didn't kill me every single time. Mom. Moving on, in Matthew 5:12, it reads, "Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you." Now, I think a lot of us here can say they've been bullied or persecuted in some way for what we believe, whether it's church related or not. In fact, could you raise your hand if you've been bullied for what you believe? Raise mine too. Okay. Raise your hand if you stood your ground or at least waited it out, maintaining your belief. Good. I'd be worried if you didn't. My sixth great grandfather was actually a great example of staying strong through persecution, and so is his brother. Now you might be thinking, that's oddly specific. Yeah, it is. But do you know who he is? My sixth great grandfather is Hiram Smith, brother of Joseph Smith Jr., very first prophet of this church and one of the most resilient men in history. Even throughout the trials the brothers encountered, the countless times they were persecuted and ridiculed, and even to the death when they were shot and killed in Carthage, Illinois. They stood their ground firmly with what they believed, and it led others to believe it as well, hence the church you're sitting in right now. If that isn't a faith booster, I don't know what is. Jumping a little farther forward in the chapter, we reach Matthew 5, verse 44 through 45. Bit of a longer one, bear with me. Verse 44, but I say unto you, love your enemies and bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. 45, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sendeth the rain on the just and the unjust. I can follow these scriptures by loving my neighbors and showing compassion, regardless of their background. This aligns with the missionary's goal to serve and uplift others. I actually have a story for this one. I'm not going to name any names for the sake of privacy, but a few weeks ago I was hanging out with a friend, and as it got late, I'd say around 9 p.m., my younger siblings had school the next day, and I had to take said friend home so everyone could get settled down in the house and go to bed. That being said, since I don't have school, I don't have the same curfew as my siblings, score. So my parents let me go hang out at his house for a couple hours more. Upon reaching his house, he encountered some family drama, which evolved when he got home and entered the conversation. Again, I won't go into in detail, but long story short, he didn't want to stay home after that. So I drove up to our chill spot by the high school, and for the first time ever, I saw him shed tears. He went on and on about how he hates the family drama and how he feels like his he doesn't feel like his family truly means it when they tell him that they love him. After a few minutes of letting him let it out, I asked him a simple question. When was the last time you had a hug? And he proceeded to ask through tears, a meaningful one. And without letting me answer, he hugged me tightly for about a minute straight, still crying. I can only imagine what he felt in that moment. After a little bit longer, I called my dad, who was still awake at home because he wasn't going to sleep until I came home. And I asked him if my friend could stay the night at our house and explained to him it wasn't it wasn't a good night for him to go back to his house. And after explaining the long and short of it to him, he, long story short, said yes. So I took my friend home and set up a place for him to sleep. And before going to bed for the night, he told me, "Hey, thanks for looking out for me." And in that moment, I didn't say much more than any time, man. But for the next hour before falling asleep, I just had this warm, buzzing feeling in my chest, and I knew I did the right thing. Sorry. When I took him home the next day, he didn't seem ready to go home, but insisted on doing so. So I did. When we got to his house, just before he went in, he turned and gave me another hug, thanking me again, though through lighter tears this time. And I got the same feeling as the night before. I'd like to bear my testimony that I know this church is true, not just through what I read, but also from what I'm taught and through my experience with others. As I go on my mission, I encourage everyone here to follow the list that I've made for you today. First, be humble. Don't do things, don't do the things you do for yourself, but for those around you and those you care about. Second, be pure of heart and strive to be honest and hardworking in all you do. Third, be a peacemaker. Don't be the person who you remember starting the fight, but the person you remember who finished. Fourth, stand for what you know is right and what you believe with all your heart, even even in the face of persecutors and bullies. Fifth and finally, show love to everyone and make sure they know that you love them, even if they might not say or show it back. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.